Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about NAMM. So these are my thoughts, and of course you can agree or disagree, but this is the way I feel about it. Why the hell is everybody so obsessed with NAMM? I don't understand. I don't know if this video is gonna have lots of views, probably not, because it's me talking. People usually prefer me not talking and playing. But anyway, I had to say this. It's kind of a, I don't want to call it a trend, but the same thing happened with IRs. Back a few months ago or a few years ago, IRs were the thing. So if you didn't have the right IR, you didn't have the right tone or the right setup or something like that. And although I do rely on some IRs in my packs, my own IRs, one or two, not more than that, I don't think they're really necessary. And when I talk about that, I'll talk about in a mixing situation, because in the end, everybody wants to make music and everybody wants their guitars to fit in the mix. And I think that's the ultimate goal, to make music. And then comes NAMM 2, which is ultra, resolution and stuff like that, and very accurate to the amps. And honestly, I don't care. I don't care for various reasons. I don't know if Fractal or Neural DSP or Tonex or even Line 6 are going to go full NAMM or not, but I think it takes the fun out of the equation of creating, at least for me as a patch designer, of creating tones. I mean, Fractal for me is top tier in terms of amps and cabs and stuff like that. I couldn't ask for more, honestly. And even so, I use my Boss GT1000 that hasn't been updated a million years ago, and it still works fine. I mean, you can go gig with it and have great tones live and do everything with it. It can record an album, because in the end, nobody gives a shit what amp do you have on your album, as long as it sounds good on your song. You cannot know if it's been used a vintage Marshall or just a cheap, I don't know, Velaton GP5. If it's well mixed, the guitars are there. So, of course, I have to agree that it has high quality, very, very well represented in terms of you can really get the tones from a real amp just like they are. But in the same thing, I think it's like of a locked system, because probably there will be the time where when you get a capture, I don't know what brand is doing that already, where you can capture every knob. I don't know if it's not AdRush, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Software, you can capture every knob. I saw a video with Tom Quayle about that, but it took like forever to capture every knob in every position of an amp, and then you have everything, and the knobs will behave accordingly to your amp, so it will be like a perfect match. But until then, you have just like low gain, high gain, or clean, or stuff like that, full rig, or just amp, and that's it. You cannot go there and just put a little less bass, and people say, but well, you can use an EQ after or before, but it's not the same thing in terms of trying to dial the perfect tone on your perfect captured Marshall JCM 800. You only have nothing. And this is really what I don't understand, this obsession, because, over amp modeling, you can have control over every parameter. In Fractal, you have more than enough parameters than any other unit. Things like you can only see, on real tube amps. So, and they mimic that on the Fractal unit. So I like to change my gain, my bass, my treble on the amp itself, and not adding stuff before or after. Now, of course, in relationship to effects, it's a different story. You can add reverb, delay, and stuff like that. But I don't think it's really, I don't know, it seems like more of a trend. Like if it's to stay, I'm probably gonna embrace it, I don't know, or not. But honestly, does it sound better? That's very relative, because I've seen many videos. I'm not gonna do one about that. I could capture my own things, but I'm not gonna do that. It sounds better. No, it sounds the same. I mean, yeah, you have a perfect capture of an amp, okay, no argue with that. But so what? You have also a great tone from a Marshall on a Neural DSP, on various equipment, different boards, that you can do basically the same and more. So I think you yeah, it's great, but it's kind of limiting too, don't you think? And then there's a rabbit hole, Tone 3000. Okay, one of these days you're gonna have like 1 million captures over there, and they're free. That's pretty neat. Although there's people selling their own captures too. Where do you make the, you know, you're gonna buy a capture, or you're gonna just go into Tone 3000 and get the best capture there are, because they're very similar in the end, or maybe they're the same in terms of quality. So for the market regarding selling captures, it's going to be hard for people who really capture everything and then want to compete with something that's free. And then of course you want to have everything. You want to have the Marshall, you want to have the Fender, the Waza boutique amps. You know, it's a little bit confusing for me. I prefer to have just one amp and do everything with it. You know, like if in a scenario where you have like in neural or fractal or helix, you have different scenes, you can configure your amp to your taste and just have foot switches to inside one preset have different scenes and different tones. I mean, that's more than enough. And honestly, if you're gonna play live, and that same analogy applies to your mixing record or something like that. If you're gonna play live, nobody cares and nobody can tell you if you're using a capture or not. So is it just for you? I mean, to play at home and say, yeah, this sounds good. So what? It sounds good everywhere else. Even in Velaton, their own amps and stuff like that, they sound good. But I think in the end, NAMM is kind of a marketing strategy, you know, because everyone is doing it, especially the lower tier brands are doing it. You know, you can load NAMM into very inexpensive boxes like Velaton, and sometimes they convert to their own format because the chip just can handle the CPU or something like that. But I would like to see Fractal and other brands continuing with their philosophy and don't go after NAMM just because everybody and their mother or it's after a capture that is perfect from an amp. It's hard for me to really tell you about this and talk about this because it's so much fuss about this and I don't see why. And in the end, it's kind of all the same shit. I mean, I have my Tonex, I can capture my amp. So is that a capture? Is that NAMM? I've just captured my amp to the best of my abilities and it sounds just like the amp. So where does NAMM stays? NAMM is even better. Can you hear the difference? I mean, even if it has a little bit more or less highs or something like that, is it bad? You know what I mean? It's so much, people are going towards so much perfection, they actually forget to play. And then there's the other aspect where you can get a great capture of an amp after scrolling through thousands of pages, but then if it's just an amp, now you get to find the right IR because you have to scroll another 3,000 pages and test them all in order to get them right. And I know people do that and they do their job very efficiently and very well, and they sell you everything already mixed, you know, already, you know, you don't have to have the trouble to go into Tone 3000 and look for yourself, and kudos to them. So basically, this is not an anti-NAMM video. I'm not against it. It's technology, we have to embrace it. The same with IR, the same with amp modeling that's been around for, I don't know, so many years. But in the end, I think it starts to make a very thin line between a capture of an amp done by Quad Cortex or Tonex or Fractal doesn't have that yet, and a capture from NAMM too, just because it's more faithful, it's more, you know, it doesn't make sense for me because I can get the exact same tone I can record an album using my Boss Katana with a SM57 and tell you that I've used an very expensive Mesa Boogie and nobody will know, and people will congratulate me, yeah, you know, great tones on that Mesa, and it's just a Katana. So in the end, for me, you know, okay, good enough, but not for me. So anyways, I hope you guys, this is just my 2 cents. You have all the right to disagree, and I hope you do or agree with me in the comment section below. Let me know if you're gonna embrace it, if you're waiting for brands to incorporate NAMM, because I couldn't care less, to be honest. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. It's free and will help a lot the channel. as you guys know, and stay tuned for more. Cheers!